in a device called a plasma converter. The process has been intended to be a net generator of electricity depending upon the composition of input waste and to reduce the volumes of waste being sent to landfill sites. Now, the key thing about this technology is it works in an oxygen-free environment, so there's absolutely no combustion, no fumes, no smoke. So you are not actually burning, but breaking down all the garbage. The benefits of this, as you all would have guessed by now, it reduces the requirement of landfill sites. The biggest problem we're facing today is that we run out of landfill sites, and every new area we go to and try and set up a new one, everyone says, not in my backyard. The second thing is this kind of equipment can also be used for medical waste, and that reduces biological hazards and spread of infectious diseases. Now, this technology also gives us the possibility to reclaim metals from packaging. So for example, those Tetra Paks which have aluminium coating in it, the aluminium can actually be reclaimed. This technology converts a problem into a resource and gives you surplus energy either in the form of synthetic diesel or electricity depending on the manufacturer's model. Now let's talk for a second about the viability of renewable energy, ladies and gentlemen. The problem is with renewable energy that there's this legacy thought which 90% of the people I've met have, that you know what, renewable energy is just too expensive, it's not worth it, it's a dream, it doesn't exist. But I'd like to bring to everyone's attention that now, with the Prime Minister of India putting such a focus on renewable energy, along with the NAPCC, there are several promotional incentives and fiscal incentives. It started off about 15 years ago with depreciation, where income tax depreciation was given. I mean, you get a benefit, accelerated benefit of 80% of your cost of the project. Then what happened is people realized that there are other people that want to set up wind turbines, but they don't need depreciation. So for that, the Ministry of Renewable Energy came up with generation-based incentives, or GBI. Now, the CERC, that is the Central Electricity Regulatory Commission, the commission that governs all interstate transactions and power, they have come up with a path-breaking regulation which enables the creation of a brand new market for energy certificates. They're called RECs. And of course, you have the time and tested old carbon credits, which are CERs, and voluntary emission credits, VERs. I won't bore you with all this, but let me just tell you, with these in place, whatever you spend on the project, it's back in 5 years, no matter what technology you use. Now, another thing is that in the last 5 years, the cost of solar assets have reduced by almost 40%. So today, a solar plant will cost you 60% of what it would cost you 5 years ago. Also, another very, very important aspect that we need to look at, and anyone who has a poultry farm or a brick-making business or any business which requires agro-waste or biomass will know that fuel prices are going up. Populations are going up, demand is going up, fuel prices are going up, whether you talk about coal, oil or biomass. Now, the minute you compare a renewable energy source with a conventional energy source, people just compare the capital cost and say, you know what, a coal plant is much cheaper, let me pollute. But the fact of the matter is, as the coal gets expensive, you spend more and more money each year on your fuel, as opposed to, I mean, letting the sun do all the work, or letting the wind do all the work. Now, we need to use renewable energy as a tool for the nation and for Belgaum to ensure our energy security. I mean, in today's scenario, the way global markets are going and the global policies and the dynamic nature of them, we cannot depend on other nations to provide us our energy security. We need to be energy secure. Now, what are the issues and hurdles that we will face in this entire process of sustainable development? The first and foremost, as everyone is rightly knows, is land acquisition. And the solution to that is inclusive development, where the landowner is a stakeholder in the project and therefore wants the project to develop, so he makes more profit or remuneration. Second thing is, as you increase generation assets, the ability to deliver the power is also of utmost importance. Transmission and distribution capacity must also be enhanced to augment the power generation. Investments need to come in, and investments to come in, we need a framework from the government to be put in place. And then you've got another issue, is technology selection, for which we humbly submit we're here for that. And you've got the last and final issue, which is disbursement of state financial incentives to propel development and linking it to social development. By just merely saying that I will set up a road should not be enough. There must be a social element involved where there is welfare of those villagers who are either being disconnected from the city because of the road or whose land is being acquired. What according to me should be our vision for Belgaum? The way I see it, I'm not talking about what Belgaum has and should have, but I'd like to project to you, ladies and gentlemen, a vision for what Belgaum should be. Belgaum should be, in my eyes, a technology-enabled, environmentally friendly city, having electric-powered, self-charging vehicles, with a greater use of internet for education and business. Belgaum should be a hub for agricultural commerce for the surrounding areas. As we saw in the video, all the major cities are just 500 kilometers away from us. Having farmer co-owned power projects, total absence of below poverty line. This term should not exist in Belgaum anymore. I mean, we must ensure that when we grow, everyone grows together. Another important feature of what I envisage Belgaum to have is the households in Belgaum should be a net energy supplier, not a user. So every household should actually get paid by the state for supplying energy into the grid after their own consumption, as opposed to what is happening right now, where the state supplies power to the home and it's never enough. Also, I'd like to see Belgaum as a hub for manufacturing of renewable energy machinery. I mean, we have all the tools, we have all the technologies, we have the expertise, the know-how. We have, all sorts of metal processing industries in Belgaum. We've got auto component manufacturing, machining. Why not use this and convert it into a platform for generating renewable energy machines? Now the next steps are that we analyze all the ideas and feedback involved, turn these ideas into a reality, and ladies and gentlemen, let's use Belgaum Next as the platform to collect all these points of view and bring them forward. Thank you.
And I think you have not put any slide on that. If you had compared the whatever electricity we are using today and each household, what is the expenditure and what it would be if solar, the solar light or the fan is given, what will be the expenditure? I have worked it out on some other aspect and it is not really, it's not, there is no, it's not even breaking even after 10 to 15 years.
Ma'am,
so you have to work out on that. If you provide me the slide, then I'll agree.
Sure, I'd implore that you kindly take a look at this slide. Basically now there are promotional incentives in place, as I said, from the CERC.
See, I am aware of all the incentives that are being given for promoting the solar energy, but that is still not...
Ma'am, have you factored in renewable energy credits?
No.
I don't think so.
Yeah, see, Government of India is already providing a lot of incentives and also they are giving subsidies for that. But if even after working out all that and the cost of capital cost and the running cost and then the later, if we take presently the electricity is cost in Karnataka. Okay, if we compare it with Gujarat, it may be different because the unit cost in Gujarat is very high. But with respect to Karnataka and particularly Belgaum, it is not going to break even because we were working on that to propose for some other incentive for adopting the solar energy. So that's why
so
I think this has to be reworked.
Ma'am, I humbly submit that you hire me as a consultant and I will show you the profitability.
That is a different issue, but see, when we want to promote anything, always we need to look at the cost. And, if and I tell you, it's not me or you. If it is workable and if it is cost effective, citizens will just come forward. That's all.
Ma'am, that's exactly why, without getting into the details of it, because the August forum here, without getting into the details of it, I said within 5 years you will get 100% back on your investment with interest. Ma'am, please hire me, I'll show you how. Because this technology is not yet commercially proven. But as far as solar thermal is concerned, yes, we've been talking to some of the world's largest manufacturers of solar thermal energy, and I think the validation lies in the fact that Belgaum has so many of these Tata BP tube heaters, which is actually solar thermal energy.
Yeah. Solar thermal by itself is on, there's no question about it. And solar photovoltaic is still a little expensive, even with thin film cell technology and so on and so forth. But when it comes to large-scale solar thermal, where you are trying to feed the grid, like in Seven, there are a number of, there's a technology, it's on the technology shelf, but to be transferred to the ground and to be actually feasible, there's a huge big gap I find. We've all been into solar energy at different...
So actually, as we speak, there is an Israeli company which is setting up a power tower plant in India and Rajasthan.
Okay.
So there are, I mean, the thing is, I agree with you that we will invest only once we see commercially proven technology. But I'd also like to submit that because of the new market which has come up in renewable energy credits, the entire viability has changed. I mean, the draft order came out in February and the final orders came out in March. So I'm talking about 2 months ago. So I mean, and as of right now, most people aren't even aware of this. But right now, solar thermal technology is probably the most cost-effective vis-a-vis the incentives available for solar power, where you can sell your renewable energy credits at a minimum of 16 rupees per kilowatt. And I can explain to you later. It's a long process. I have to get into efficiencies and this and that. But it comes down to about 6 cents a watt to 8 cents a watt. So that's about maybe... I'll calculate and tell you later.
No, that has to be made compulsory for the construction of new building. Whenever the new building permission is applied for to the government, it has to be made compulsory so that the electricity
I agree with you 100%.
made by way of solar
correct.
panel systems in the residential areas.
So if I'm not mistaken, I think Belgaum next is going to get into these issues more detailed, and there will be separate forums for each of these issues, from transport to energy. So these are some very good suggestions you have, and I request you to kindly write into Belgaum next and inform them of what you have in mind. Because
whatever informations are given or collected, it has to be implemented.
Exactly. Unless we take forward the deliberations of this exercise, then it's just an academic exercise. So we have to, in the end, tabulate recommendations and come up with stuff. I per se am not. I'm just a sponsor. I'm not a part of Belgaum Next yet. So I'll request Belgaum Next.
The program arranged by the Belgaum Next has to look into all.
Definitely. I agree with you 100%.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we'll make sure that, as a part of the audience, please visit our site, which is Belgaum.